Taken Abroad, Chapter 1. Aaron left his house in Bloomington, Indiana, and drove to school in the 1996 white Ford Taurus his mom bought for him as an early graduation present. It was a cold December morning and the roads were slippery from the fresh layer of snow that had fallen the night before. He reached over and pressed the power button on his new Pioneer AM, FM, radio/CD player that he had just installed professionally at the local garage. He flipped through the channels until he found the local country station so he could hear the weather report for the day before arriving at school. He smiled when the newscaster's report said that it would be sunny and clear all day. Aaron knew the army recruiter was scheduled to be at the school that day and didn't want the weather to force him to reschedule. Ever since the terrorist attack on 9/11, Aaron knew what he wanted to do after graduation. His heart was set on going to Iraq and fighting for the freedom of the United States and the freedom of the Iraqi citizens. Pulling into the school parking lot, Aaron weaved through a couple rows of cars and trucks that belonged to the other students until he finally found a parking space. Gathering up his backpack, he got out of his car and made his way to the school and his homeroom, his mind on meeting with the army recruiter. The bell rang at 11 a.m. Aaron had 45 minutes to eat lunch and talk to the army recruiter. He gathered his books off his desk and walked to his locker. His friend Derek was waiting for him when he got there. "Hey Aaron," he said as Aaron reached his locker.
"Hey Derek, what's up?"
Aaron replied. "Not much, just thought I'd see if you wanted to ride to the store with me for lunch."
"I can't today. The army recruiter is here. I'm going to talk to him right after I'm done eating." "Sorry. Maybe tomorrow though."
"Alright," Derek said as he slapped Aaron on the back. "I'll talk to you later then." Aaron closed his locker and headed for the cafeteria. He got in line with his tray and grabbed a slice of pizza, 2 cookies, and a can of Pepsi. He sat down at the first table with an empty chair, all the while paying close attention to the clock on the wall next to the door. It read 11:10 already. He spent the next 5 minutes gobbling down his food and drink and running some questions through his mind that he wanted to ask the recruiter. What rank would he be just starting out? What would his pay be? Would he be able to do some type of mechanics work? Would he be able to go to Iraq and fight? How long would it be before he could leave for basic training? He finished up eating, brought his tray to the counter, and walked to the study hall, where the recruiters were set up and talking to other students that were interested in military careers. There were tables set up for Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. Aaron made his way through the line of students to the table set up for Army recruiters, and waited in line with 4 students in front of him. There were only 2 Army recruiters, so he knew he wasn't going to have much time to talk to the recruiter. He waited patiently as the line in front of him slowly disappeared, and he was next to see a recruiter. When the next student stood up to shake the recruiter's hand and leave, Aaron read the nameplate on the table as he walked towards the recruiter. Sergeant Watkins is what it read in big gold letters with a black background. The recruiter held out his hand to greet Aaron as he approached. Aaron shook the man's hand in envy as he eyed the sergeant's uniform. He spent the next 15 minutes talking to Sergeant Watkins and getting all the information he could before accepting the recruiter's business card and making an appointment to meet with him at his office the following week to enlist. Aaron left the recruiter's table with a smile on his face and the feel of more pride in his heart for his country than he had when he had first sat down to talk to the recruiter. Amazing, he thought.
What 15 minutes of talking about my future in the military could do to help my pride.
Aaron spent the next week looking information up on the internet about the career fields, medical and dental benefits, and the GI Bill. He talked things over with his mother about signing up for the army so that she would be prepared. She took the news hard, but she knew how much this is what he wanted to do. She had raised him to do what he believed was right, even if it meant sacrifice. She couldn't tell him that she didn't want him to go because it would be contradicting what she had taught him. Tuesday morning, Aaron woke up, showered, got dressed, and got himself to school. He spent the day looking anxiously at the clock. This was the day he had been waiting a week for. His appointment with Sergeant Watkins was at 3:30. When the last bell rang for the day, Aaron hurried to his locker to retrieve his jacket, and then headed to the Army recruiting office. He pulled into the parking lot and looked at the clock on his car stereo.
3:15. I'm 15 minutes early,
he said to himself.
I'll go in and wait in the lobby. I'm sure you won't mind if I'm a little early.
Stepping out of his car, he looked up just in time to see an Army Humvee driving by. He stared at the big vehicle in awe.
Oh my god. Hopefully soon I'll be working on vehicles like that one,
he muttered into the cold air. He turned back around after the vehicle was out of sight, locked his car door and closed it hard. The weather today was 22 degrees, and the wind had a sharp bite to it. Aaron placed his hands in his jacket pockets to protect them from the cold, tilted his head down against the wind, and began walking across the snow-packed parking lot to the recruiting office entrance. When he walked through the door, he looked to the left at the secretary behind the desk. Her name tag read Helen in small black letters with a brass-coloured background, and was pinned to her suit jacket just above her left breast. She was an older woman, probably in her late 40s or early 50s, a little on the heavy side, with brown curly hair that came down to her shoulders, and wore wide-rimmed glasses with a gold chain that dangled from the sides of her glasses and wrapped around the back of her neck. She had a mother's air about her, and greeted him with a warm, welcoming smile. "May I help you?" she asked.
"Aye, sir. I have an appointment with Sergeant Watkins at 3:30, he replied.
"And what is your name?" He watched her as she opened a large black book that read Appointment Book on the cover and answered,
"Aaron Johnson."
She licked her thumb and flipped the pages to the correct day and looked at 3:30. "There you are right there," she said as she looked up and smiled at him. "Have a seat in one of those chairs right there and I'll let Sergeant Watkins know that you're here." Aaron turned around after thanking Helen and found a seat next to some army brochures. He picked one up and began looking at it while Helen let Sergeant Watkins know that his 3:30 appointment was there. "Mr. Johnson." Aaron looked up in surprise. He hadn't heard Sergeant Watkins approach him because he had been engrossed in the pamphlet that he was still holding in his hand. He folded the pamphlet back up, set it back in its place, and stood to shake Sergeant Watkins' hand. "How are you doing today?" Sergeant Watkins asked him.
"Fine, sir," Aaron replied. "How are you?"
"I'm doing great, thank you. I see you're ready to sign up today, huh?"
"Yes, I am," Aaron replied.
"Well, follow me and we'll begin all the paperwork." Aaron did as Sergeant Watkins directed and fell in behind him. As he entered the office, he looked around at all the certificates on the walls. The envy Aaron held for the sergeant began to grow to a minor case of idolism. He sat down in the chair in front of Sergeant Watkins' big desk and watched as the sergeant put together a new folder with Aaron's name on it. By 5:30, Sergeant Watkins had all of Aaron's enlistment forms filled out and had him set up for an appointment for a physical. Aaron left the recruiter's office pleased with what Sergeant Watkins had done for him. In 1 month, he would be on his way to getting a physical and being sworn into the United States Army. A smile spread across his face as he opened his car door and climbed inside. In just a few short months, he would be on his way to basic training. After talking more with his mother that night, Aaron went to sleep dreaming for his future in the United States military.